Probably not.
Hello there. This is, as Eric said before, this is the first ever Mario Kart live stream, which is about Bitcoin. And today is going to be me playing against Eric, who is using for OPSEC purposes his girlfriend's Switch account.
Highly technical OPSEC strategy.
And we also
And
get,
I'm playing an imaginary Switch.
yeah, I mean, Carr did not know that he's supposed to bring his Switch, so he just thought it
Understandable,
was like a call.
We
I'm
didn't.
actually at work right now, so
Oh, that's a good use. It's a good use of being on the clock at work.
that's true.
You get paid for live streaming about Bitcoin.
Okay,
So you guys are
let's-
standing on top of the world right now?
We're on top of the world.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm tweeting about this, and after that we can start playing. Super Mario Kart 8 DM if you would like to join us.
Do you know how many players we can have up in one room? Is it like 8?
I honestly have no idea.
We'll find out.
There is only one way to find out.
Our goal is to max out the number of people we can join to this room.
Okay, so let's use like 100 or 150 cc.
It's normally 150. Is that standard? I'm so used to playing with the normal settings, so whatever that one is.
Let's put all items, frantic items. I like the sound of this.
But I'm down. You can change the items up all you want as long as the speed is normal.
Should we go easy, normal, or hard?
Let's start with normal.
Normal. And for vehicles, all vehicles are allowed. For
Yeah.
races, this is standard. Let's go. Start race. Yes, sir. I'm shouting out the rules from, I guess that's the Pacific Ocean. If you're standing on top of USA. And I get to vote for a circuit, and I will go for Koopa City.
Now it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah, my chances are a lot more even. As you can see, we're not showing any faces here. It's all about just talking. It's like a podcast, except that we're playing video games and we're supposed to talk about Bitcoin. So what do you guys think about what's been happening lately?
54K. That's crazy.
Is it? That's what it was
Yeah.
weeks ago.
I actually haven't been monitoring the price action that much today.
Yeah. 54K is pretty. I mean, I've been saying since like mid-January that I was going to get to 75K. I'm pretty sure people are annoyed by it by now, but yeah, it literally is going to get to 75K by the end of the month. It's just inevitable at this point. I mean, it might even get to 100K by the middle of April. It's just ridiculous, man.
It's kind of
All this money
mind-boggling
printing.
just
Yeah.
how similar it tends to mimic the other cycles. It's like if you actually have been in the space for a while, it seems
Right.
a little remarkable how obvious it is, you know?
Right. And it's kind of funny too, right? Like you just see the same parabolic like cycles, right? Like it's almost like it's just, I don't know. It's so strange. Like, and it's, you see the same thing with the shit coins, right? Like you see like the crypto kitties and now NFTs. And it's like, wow, like who would have,
Yeah, it's
like who
always
would have, it's always the same thing, right? It's kind of weird.
yeah, I tend to be in the camp of people who don't think that all the crap coins are going away. Like they're always going to be around. There's always going to be some stupid arbitrage on Bitcoin. That's pretty much what shitcoins are. I think
Right.
Jack Mallers first coined it that way. Like that's what they are. And unfortunately, about 90% of people who get into the space start there. I mean, I'm guilty of it when I first found out about Bitcoin because I didn't quite understand at first. You know, you have to do your research, but then it becomes obvious that everything else.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of, that's kind of what happens, right? You come in and you see all these shiny things, you see Bitcoin, and hopefully you buy Bitcoin, but at the same time, you start looking at these other things, thinking that you're going to make more money doing that, and then you realize, like, oh shit, you should have
Hence
just
how
bought
not making
Bitcoin.
money.
Yeah,
I mean, that's happened with me. Like I started dabbling in Bitcoin, but if I had the knowledge I have now, I would have just relentlessly piled into Bitcoin with everything I had because I had some savings at that point. I was saving a lot from my job at the time, but I was just at that time you're tentative. You don't have the conviction we have now.
right.
It
Yeah,
was not
even
quite as
to
obvious,
even
though.
now.
If I were
Oh,
to
go ahead, Vlad.
Yeah, so if I were to play the devil's advocate, it was not as obvious at the time. Right now, it's so safe and so easy to think about Bitcoin as the next reserve currency when you have Elon Musk and all the other CEOs jumping in. And there was also that guy from Norway who is a billionaire from some sort of oil business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You're right. It is painfully obvious now, right? I feel like before it wasn't. It took a little bit more, I guess, thinking and faith, right, or whatever you want to call that. I mean, I think now it's just like painfully obvious.
It's like Max Kaiser talks about how it gets less risky every day, and as the price has gone up, it's less risky to buy now. But yeah, speaking of which, I don't quite recall, when did you get into the space, lad?
So if you, I don't know what you mean by that because I first got exposed like in 2013 or something when I first read about it, or maybe 2012. But I was into memes at the time, just watching meme websites, and there was some about Bitcoin, and I looked at it at the time, and it did not make much sense to me. I was like, okay, how does this even make sense? I have my credit card, I can buy anything. What can I buy with a Bitcoin? How do I store it? There were way too many questions that I could not answer at the time. And that was not even as obvious as today. You have lots of wallets, you have lots of exchanges that make it safe. Back in the day, it was Mt. Gox and what was the other one by Charlie Shrem? Bit Instant. Anyway, I
The hook
ignored it largely. I did not care much about it, didn't understand where it comes from and what it's supposed to do. I was also doing my university studies in political science, and my professors were heavy statists, so I could never get into that while getting that kind of education. And when I got a scholarship in Paris in 2015, they made me, I mean, one of the professors who was leading a class in advocacy, he assigned me to make a presentation about Bitcoin specifically and also blockchain, because at the time it was the popular narrative, blockchain, not Bitcoin. And I had more time to look into it. I've actually did some research for that presentation, but I was such an idiot that I regarded it as homework, and that was it. As soon as I was done, I just checked some news articles to see what's up with Bitcoin, and I went on Wall Street Journal or something. And around the same time, there was the ongoing trial of Ross Ulbricht. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it was still, in a sense, tainted. So it had that reputation of criminal money. And I was in a foreign country trying to keep a good reputation, even though they me so badly in France. Like, if you're a student, you are entitled to get some discounts for public transportation and all sorts of services, but I could not get them without a bank account. And I could not get a bank account because I did not have like a proof of residency. And I could not get a proof of residency because my landlord was an asshole who did not want to pay taxes. So he was like, yeah, if anyone ever asks, you're going to say that you're my cousin or something.
Oh.
So
That's funny.
there's a lot that I could not do. I could not get a phone number because I did not have a bank account. And in France, you need to register with your phone number and directly with your bank account. It's like banks are an extension of the state in France.
That's
So
insane.
getting back to Bitcoin, it'd have made a lot of sense if I got into it at the time, just to be able to access these basic services and make payments without requiring a bank. But I don't know, I was too much of an idiot and I did not have much money anyway. So I can use that as an excuse.
Well, like we always say, it takes a while to really start to understand and get into it. What people always say, what is it? You have to hear about Bitcoin at least 3 times before you really start to dive in. It's really interesting.
It's funny because it took me 3 attempts. Like the third time around, it was early 2017. And it caught, no, wait, it was the fourth time because in 2016, I started casually navigating Tor websites like the deep web, just reading stuff on forums. It was part of my research for the what's it called? Like a dissertation that I was doing for my master degree. So I was looking to see what it looks like on the dark web, what it's like. So I started finding all of these websites that were essentially tumblers for your Bitcoins, like today's join market, but more rudimentary, and they relied on a trusted third party so they could actually run away with your coins. And I remember I've read the message that Mike Hearn wrote in 2016 when he said goodbye to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were around at the time, but it was kind of huge because he was one of the main developers and he lost faith in the project because he could not establish himself as the dictator of the project with XT. And he wrote something very doomy and gloomy, like, this is the end of it. It will not work as money because blah, blah, blah. And it was a nice experiment, but goodbye. It's not going to work. At the time, the price was still like $200, I think. It's crazy.
Well,
I could have bought one whole Bitcoin with the money that I had, but I was just an idiot. And I was still reading like Wall Street Journal if I needed financial advice.
dude, I'm a bigger idiot, dude. Trust me. I got in at 2015 and I bought 3 Bitcoin. I think it was like two and like 2 point, it was like 2.5 or something like that Bitcoin. And like I used to be like big into gambling, like online gambling, and I like gambled all of it away. And I had bought like it was like 10 Litecoin or something. Dude, I was such an idiot, dude. It's because I didn't understand Bitcoin at that time at all. And then like in 2017, I started buying more Bitcoin and got into shit coins and started the podcast and everything. And like pretty much did my whole like learning through the podcast, took the audience for the ride and kind of learned together. And that's kind of what happened. Then went through the whole bear market. And now I'm just like really into just Bitcoin at this point, and it kind of sucks because a lot of the people that subscribe um, to the podcast now still want, the deep dives into these other projects. And I kind of have to do it now because, that's kind of what we promised from the beginning. So I still do those, but it's kind of now it's more like you're getting, you're kind of getting my critique and analysis on it, but it's strictly just a technical, just the technical research on it, and that's it, because I really don't see any value in a lot of those coins anymore. And then even that, it's like even if some of that stuff does scale over time, you're talking about like at least another decade before any of that gets implemented to the mainstream. Like it's just not viable for any of these like businesses to like do any of this stuff. Like I think people's like time horizons on this stuff it's just not there. I don't know. Like I can see Bitcoin actually getting, like layer 2 and stuff like that actually happening this decade, like within the next 3 to 4 years. But like some of this other stuff like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, all this other crap, like That's not going to happen, at least, if ever. Even if it does have the opportunity to make an impact in the world, it's not going to happen for at least another 2 decades, right? Like, I just don't see that happening in the real world anytime soon.
I just don't really
It
see the
just,
motivation coming for any of these projects and their development and their future when the only motivation of people involved is just to make a profit short term. That's the big difference, like on that level, at least between all the altcoins and Bitcoin, like regardless of any other shortcomings. All these people would sell in an instant if it meant making more money, and they would abandon their bags immediately if they had to. And you can't say the same thing about Bitcoin. I always say
and
that
that,
there's such thing as a Bitcoin bag. It doesn't exist.
and that's the thing, like all of them are companies or foundations, and they hide behind that, right? Like, and that's the thing, a lot of these people that get into these coins, that they don't realize that they're just a company. Like, that's all they are. They're just creating jobs for themselves. They're not doing anything. They're just developers creating jobs for themselves, creating a project, and they have a job for themselves. And trust me, they're holding their money in Bitcoin. Like, Joe Lubin's not holding, Ethereum. He's holding Bitcoin, right? Like, Charles Hoskinson is not holding his money in ADA. He's holding it in Bitcoin. Like, that's somebody who I've interviewed twice, on our podcast, and I've had, off the off the air conversations, and he's a big Bitcoiner. Like, don't let him fool you. That guy's a big Bitcoiner. It's just that he will not say that, recorded. And that's what I'm saying. Like, most people just don't realize a lot of these guys are just saying what they have to say to show the project. And I get it. Everybody needs to make a living, but be honest, with what you can deliver.
Oh yeah, this difference of conviction is very obvious because it's very clear that there will be bear markets and we will not have this kind of bull cycle and increasing price action all the time. And the biggest test for altcoins is whether or not somebody works on them, even when they're not financially incentivized. And in most cases, they don't. You can see lots of projects dying and not being developed at all for longer periods of time. It's like they wait for the bull market for anything to happen. And
Yeah, they time it perfectly, don't they? So funny how
yeah,
they do that.
so many of them coming back during this time.
Hmm.
Like, have you heard of Neo in the last 4 years?
Oh
Because
my
Nope.
god, that's
some people
definitely.
seem to shill it on Twitter once again. And also there's Nano. The Nano ones are very aggressive. Also
Oh
the
yeah.
Digibyte ones.
They'll even change their name, right? So, like, I don't know if you remember, there used to be a coin called, I remember the crappiest what it was called, but now it's called Horizon or something. Um, but it was called something completely different, in the previous bull run, and now it's called Horizon. And it's like, dude, come on.
That's like
It's
AntShares, right?
just,
And then became Neo, and the price pumped because it changed its name.
yeah, it's all,
All
it's
hype.
it's all, yeah, it's all hype. And sometimes they're buying their own coin
Hot
just to
air and
get it
hype.
pumping. You know, it's just scams on top of scams. The longer you stay in the space, the longer you see it, though. So, I mean, I don't blame the new people coming in. They just don't see it. They don't see it the way, people that have been in the space long enough to see it.
It's funny how we picked the same course without talking.
I know. With all the altcoins, it's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. It's crazy because in the 2017 bubble, you had, people in the space or on Twitter that you were witnessing going through the stages of dabbling with all the shit coins, even against our best advice. And now that's just happening with everyone in real life. Like, people at my job all of a sudden are talking about Dogecoin, and it's extremely frustrating. But at the same time, it's super bullish because what happens to all those people? Eventually, they figure it out. Hopefully, So all those people who went through that in 2017, that's now happening to mom and pop. Like that's happening to normal people. It's super mainstream.
Right.
Like the altcoin garbage popularity is now mainstream. So you know what comes next.
That's so true. Yeah, you're right. So when the 2025 bull run comes, you know, they'll have learned, hopefully.
Yeah, and remember, like what we were talking about before. I didn't get a chance to say it, but there's that really famous meme about holding, like what you think holding's going to be like, and it's just a straight path up, or like a straight path on this. It's like a line drawing of a guy on a bike, versus what it actually is, and it's got all these dips and valleys, right?
Mhm.
And water and obstacles and things you have to get through. The path to becoming Bitcoin maximalist is similar. Like it takes a lot of time and mistakes. So I'm just hoping that that's happening right now with mainstream players.
Car, can you check like the live stream?
Yeah. Let me check on my phone here. Let's
Is
see.
it like laggy or delayed? It seems kind of choppy when I look at it, but I'm not sure if it's my preview or it's what it's actually like.
Yeah.
I suck so much at this.
Well, I have no idea what this is. I've never played anything other than the race.
It's battle mode.
I'm a purist.
No, it actually looks really good. Yeah, it looks really smooth.
Okay,
Yeah, we have pretty good Wi-Fi here at work, so
it's just my computer.
yeah, it looks really good, dude. Yeah,
All
it
right.
doesn't look bad at all.
This is our first episode of Hot Ones. Like our goal from 1 year from now, we got to have some really big names playing Mario Kart with us, talking Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. You know, it's a lot better to play video games and talk about Bitcoin than to be on your phone all the time acting like it's some sort of conference and you have to be active. I don't know, I just enjoy having fun while discussing topics.
No, this is definitely a good
It's
format.
also a challenge, like you have to pay attention to what you're doing on the screen while presenting an argument that makes sense.
Yeah. It reminds me back in the day when we used to do it like as kids, dude. It's a lot of fun.
Someone proposed to me that we should also play Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I think I need to download it. Celeste doesn't actually have it. She's never played, but I love
No,
Smash.
I accidentally closed the room. It's gonna be back on in a minute. Anyway, let's play a normal race. I'm not a big fan of battle mode.
Yeah.
So how's the 24/7 Bitcoin radio station going? How's it going along, Lad?
I haven't told many people about it, so I guess this is the first time when
Oh, was it a secret? My bad.
I just
Yeah,
tweeted
I had
about
no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
So I'm working on a project to take as many podcasts that are maybe obscure or lesser known and create a 24/7 radio live stream on YouTube and Twitch
It's
and put them
genius
together.
idea, by the way.
It's like the expandables of podcasts. Nobody wants to watch a Sylvester Stallone film anymore, but if he's together with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jet Li and Bruce Willis and Stone Cold Steve Austin, then some people might actually tune in.
Dude, I'm totally gonna watch that. I'm gonna have it on all the time at my house, just like playing in the background.
Yeah, me too, but I don't have a choice, right? If I want to keep it on, I have to from my computer.
But it's gonna be one of those where I can just tune in, you know, and like, because there's some times where I've like listened to everything, and I could just tune in and just like get Bitcoin.
I think it's a good chance for people to discover something new that otherwise they would have not found on iTunes or Spotify or on Twitter, as I think that the
Hmm.
algorithms are sometimes rigged in favor of the big creators.
I think I think you might have like a really great opportunity right there, Vlad. Like I'm not even like trying to hype it up, but I think you might have like a
Gonna be part
really profitable idea right there, bro. Like seriously.
I'm not sure if you heard that part, but I said you're going to be part of it, so you should hype it up. Like,
Oh, okay. But no, but I'm saying like seriously, like I think if you create this like 24/7 Bitcoin radio station, I would not shock me, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, you know, XM or somebody trying to buy you for $500 million or something. You know what I mean? Like it just would not shock me. I'm saying this is a really good idea. Like, because no one has anybody done it before, or
yeah,
is anybody?
there are quite a few projects like this, and there's even one which uses Blockstream's satellite system,
Oh, that's dope.
but it's very compressed, as in they have very small audio files, like 2 megabytes.
What podcasts are they? Are they known in the space, or are they?
I think Grubbles, the guy from Blockstream who experimented with the idea, only took an interview with Adam Back and Stefan Livera and put it there to see how it works. And there's also this guy, I think his name right now on Twitter is btcrad.io, as in radio. And he also does something similar in many languages,
Oh, cool.
except that he takes the RSS feeds, so it's only on his website. And he takes the RSS feeds. It's not like a product to say so. He just takes.
Oh, it's not curated like the way you're doing it. It's not like with their permission.
So I'm trying to curate the episodes and also try to have like my idea right now is to actually DJ the whole transmission and act like it's some sort of show.
That's bad, dude. Yeah, because I told you I'm making a.
I think you cut off. Eric, do you
I
still?
can hear you if you can hear me, but yeah, he just cut out for me as well. Maybe his boss walked in.
Is on his lunch break or something. Let's do Animal Crossing. So I have a minor problem, which might turn out to be major, but we can adjust it.
Yeah, what's that?
Right now, it says that the call in Zoom is ending in 7 minutes.
Huh? Is it like you have to have a premium Zoom or something to?
So
No
I
longer
guess we're going
stream.
to have to start a new call and resume. Resume in Zoom.
Resume. That's unfortunate. Do we have to have like an upgraded version to go for longer?
I mean, I'm not going to pay for it right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I'd rather, take the 3 minute break. This would be
Because
like
we can still be live streaming. We're not cutting our live stream short. We just have to start a new Zoom session.
I mean, the live stream, I guess, is going to have a blank screen for a few minutes, and so we'll start again. Also, car disconnected. He's back in right now.
Weird.
Okay, I'm back. Something happened. I don't know what happened.
Did your boss walk in while you were streaming Mario Kart?
No, no. Something. I don't know what happened. I think somebody called, and then yeah.
Oh, so yeah, that happens if you're on your phone.
Stupid Apple. But yeah, like I'm super excited for this. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be big, man. I really do. But I'm very much an optimist.
I don't know. I've learned to lower my expectations because I've worked on so many projects which I think are objectively great and deserve to get read or listened to, but I did not get the expected results. Like I've even tried to get big names on the podcast, but I still did not get fabulous, numbers. And something interesting that I've observed about podcasts is that there are times when lesser known people get more views just because they tend to promote it more, whereas the people who are very well known, they just retweet it once and then they forget about it, and they're going to be on some other show and they don't think much about that interview. But if it's someone who is not as well known, and I tend to have lots of first timers on my podcast, I should also get you on it sometime, Eric.
Yeah, I'd love to. I have time.
People seem to be, proud when they get to be on a podcast and they send the link to their friends and they refer it to others when they discuss on Twitter. Like there is this guy, Buzz Lightyear from Portugal.
Oh yeah.
I had him on the first episode. Not the first episode, the first season of the podcast. I think it was episode 5 or 6. And that was like 2.5 years ago, but he is still sending that when he's talking to people on Twitter, like, I'm involved in the community. Look at me, I did this episode.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I guess my perception is just a little bit different. I think I look at them just like I get them released, and then that's my job, right? Like I don't care about what happens afterwards. If it blows up, cool. If it doesn't, I don't care. On to the next one. I just don't look at them as like I have no expectations, or I don't really care about the metrics. It's just more about getting them released for the audience. And as long as I get like people DMing me or being happy with the content that gets released, and they're messaging me, and emails are being sent to me, and they're saying, "Hey, Card, good episode. Oh man, I have a question on this." As long as that's happening, then I'm doing my job. I could care less about who's commenting on it or who's replying to the tweet or anything like that. I don't care. I care more about the subscribers, the people that are, either they liked it or they didn't like it. Like to me, that's more important. But that's just how I look at it. That's the only way. Because if I focus on whether I hit a home run and whether it gains popularity socially, like I'm never going to be satisfied, And I think that's what I was doing. We talked about this before, Vlad. That's what I was doing before, and it's just I can't do it that way. I won't be happy.
Sometimes I also think that the market for Bitcoin only content is a bit oversaturated and there's a lot of content, but at the same time, there's so much going on. I think if anything, there should be more content, except that the community is pretty small, especially the one that is willing to consume this kind of Bitcoin content. There are lots of them who expect also to hear about their latest investments or speculation in altcoins. So the problem
that's why I like your stuff, man. That's why I like your stuff, because it's different. That's why I like Guy Swan's stuff, because it's different. I'm not a fan of the Peter McCormicks, the Pomps, the Stephen Liberas. I'm not a fan of that stuff anymore. I was in the beginning because it was cool to see all the interviews, but now it's just like it's just it's just kind of the same guys saying the same thing. They're talking to the same white guys saying the same thing, and it's just old, So for me, it's just like that's just not the same. At least with Marty's podcast, he brings a certain edge to it. But these other guys, it's just like it's the same thing. There's just nothing there. Like they all sound generic vanilla to me.
It's really interesting because there is a highly saturated, like there's so many options, but I find myself, maybe just me, I gravitate not as much towards the content, but to the people. That's why I love like Rabbit Hole Recap, and I love Marty.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Marty stands out, is because Marty's the better of all of them. It's because he has an edge to it, and Odell is like has an edge to him, and and there's something about them that's not fake, right? Or it doesn't feel like forced. But when I listen to McCormick, or I listen to Pomp, or I listen to Rivera, it feels like I'm getting fed some kind of horse shit, right? Or I feel like there's some kind of motive there, right? And it just feels like they're interviewing the same guys, and it all feels like some kind of ulterior motive going on there. I just don't like it, and I love those guys. I'm sure they're great dudes and they're making a living. That's cool for them, all for it. But
all is about to close down, and I have to start a new one, so it's gonna take like 2 minutes. But sorry, I'll send you a different link.
Oh, hey, I gotta go back to work, but it was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was good talking to you. Love to
Okay.
do this again.
Hey, nice
join
to.
us.
All right. Later,
All right.
guys. All right. Bye.
Bye, Car.
Later, bud. Bye.
So we will be back in like 2 minutes after I start a new call and I do the setting for the live stream. So sorry for the blank screen. It's just that I don't want to pay for the Zoom subscription. Okay, I think we're back.
Yep. I'm back in.
Okay, so let me pin my video. And right now, let's do another race. Okay, so what kind of race do you want to have this time?
I'm good with anything as long as it's not too crazy.
Let's make it faster, like 200cc.
All right.
I've created the room. Do you know that commercial from the 90s with all the kids screaming Mario?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, so they go like Mario, Mario, and they cover like the entire North American continent. And there's like a satellite view of it. And it's like Mario covers all America.
Is that what this is making you think of?
It reminded me of that.
Hmm.
I suppose they've done it on purpose.
I'm definitely super stoked now for some Smash together with some people from Bitcoin Twitter. Sounds great.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you want to play it now or some other time?
Probably some other time, just because I think I have to actually download it, and it's not actually on the Switch. And I'm probably gonna go when this stream times out. I'm gonna head back to the studio. I wanted to try and record some things today.
Wait. I should disable your video. Can you disable your video? And
Oh yeah, I had it disabled in the last one, but
you have to press stop video because when you talk, it shows like a black screen with your name.
mhm.
I hope this works. Anyway, we were talking about how it's so obvious nowadays, and it was actually not in 2017, even though some people will claim that.
Well, right. I mean, you were coming right off of all the S2F stuff and the uncertainty with that, right? I think when that was alleviated, that might have had something to do with why we just exploded, when there was a little bit of resolution there and less bud, you know?
It feels like finally Bitcoin has found its purpose.
Even if most people who don't know that much about it still don't understand it at all. It's still there
Sure, but
because people really don't get it. Like,
I recall listening to a lot of discussions about Bitcoin's use case being very theoretical and that US Fed would never allow for that kind of inflation to ever happen. And that's happening now.
yeah, it's crazy, really. It's almost like everything. It's like it was written in the stone. It's everything is falling into place in an unfortunate way, but I really wish I knew more about what we talk a lot about how Satoshi, whoever he, she, or they were, They were probably extremely intelligent, but also how there was most likely a lot of luck involved. But like the timing is immaculate, you know?
Like, if anyone told me 5 years ago that this would happen, I don't think I would have believed them at all. It seems very far-fetched. It's like the kind of future that the cypherpunks were envisioning in the 80s and in the 90s when they were trying to find the perfect form of digital currency, which is anonymous and decentralized. It's happening now. And to some extent, it's scary when you think about it.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And now we see companies, putting their cash reserves, their treasuries in Bitcoin. Like, if you had told someone, even if you had told someone just a year or two ago that the climate would be what it is right now, they wouldn't have believed you. Like Tesla puts a $1.5 billion of the cash reserves into Bitcoin.
I don't think many people would have expected this, even though they were talking about it. They speculated about it. They said that companies should put 1% of their cash reserves into this. And then we had Paul Tudor Jones, the hedge fund manager, who did it first, I think, and said that Bitcoin reminds him of gold in the 1970s, which I thought was incredible at the time. To get that kind of statement from somebody who is obviously not one of us in terms of generation. He's a lot older. He has seen financial markets for the last 40 years, maybe. And I wouldn't blame somebody like him if he was a big gold bug, which he is. But for him to give Bitcoin a chance when even younger people criticize it and don't see much potential in it, it was huge. And I remember in 2018 that I was watching conferences and there was one specific debate which took place at the Milken Institute. I think that's what it's called. And I've watched it specifically because Nouriel Roubini was involved.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first major cases where he spread FUD about Bitcoin and whatever. He was still at the start of his Bitcoin journey. It took him a while to finally get to the point where everyone wanted to have him at every Bitcoin conference just for the laughs, or, because he is interesting and he's a big draw and he's probably very much aware of what he does and how we regard him, but he makes money out of it and probably doesn't care. And if he turns out to be right and Bitcoin fails, he can get a reputation boost out of that. He has been known as Dr. Doom before Bitcoin because of his predictions of financial markets in 2008. So, yeah, anyway, I was watching that conference and there was Bill Barrett from, what's the name of his company? Abra. And I recall very clearly that he said back then that all companies should put 1% of their reserves into Bitcoin. And it took
And
a
at the
while for
time,
this to actually happen, like 3 years. Now it's fashionable to do it, and it feels
now it seems
edgy.
risky not to,
Yeah, at the time, I don't think
Flip
many companies found a purpose in doing this, except for speculation, which,
is not what they're doing at that level usually.
yep. Now it's not speculation anymore, it's hedging.
It's remarkable. Um, Talking on Bitcoin critics, you have the most respect for people who turn around and admit that they were wrong. It's always suspicious that people who just never change their opinion regardless of the information they receive. I mean, you even look back at Michael Saylor, like his famous tweet, right, when he was criticizing it, and he's now one of the biggest bulls. I respect that, when someone prominent has to go and say, okay, look, I was wrong. I have more information now. and I've changed my point of view. Like that. That's you should listen to those people, not the Peter Schiffs, who will never change their tune just because of their pride.
I think Peter Schiff actually found his cheat codes for instant engagement on Twitter.
Oh, he did. He did.
So he does it mostly because it's his only way to remain relevant.
And I'm sure every Bitcoin critic has their different situation, but I'd be surprised if a lot of the prominent ones don't have a Bitcoin position, but they don't actually let anyone know about it.
You have people like David Gerard and Francis Coppola, or Coppola. What do you call her?
Coppola, but I
Yeah.
do not know the pronunciation.
She actually blocked me after I told her that her performance on The Godfather 3 was underwhelming. Obviously, that's Sofia Coppola,
Yeah,
daughter of the director, but
that's a quality drop.
it's a funny joke. She did not like it, but
No.
whatever. That's how it goes.
Like I said before, I tend to be fairly unconfrontational on Twitter, so I don't really get blocked. But you're doing it right when you're getting blocked.
I did get blocked by Noriel Rubini in 2018 by the end of the year when I said, this guy is actually a Bitcoin maximalist in the closet. He doesn't want to admit it, but the way he calls out shitcoins, like he is 99% in tune with what the Bitcoin maximalists are saying, except that he doesn't like Bitcoin or he pretends not to like it.
Yeah,
There's
that's how I feel about Peter Schiff sometimes. Like, because he's the biggest gold bug, but everything he says, every tweet he tweets that isn't about Bitcoin, but is instead, I don't know, about inflation or the Fed, or it's like that's a Bitcoiner right there. Like Peter Schiff is just a Bitcoiner who is stubbornly never going to get into Bitcoin. It's unfortunate.
I guess. I'm pretty sure that he is into it and has been into it, as he first criticized it in 2011, and his son is very involved and publicly makes fun of his positions. Like, I suppose that there is some sort of backstage arrangement in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, he probably figured out that he has his own audience, and there are genuine people who disregard Bitcoin and think very highly of gold. And he's trying to represent these people and provide them a service. And he spoke with his son and was like, you're 18. It makes sense for you to like Bitcoin. So why don't you talk about it and make fun of me? And you can also start a business and
Make something for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Peter Schiff is not stupid.
We do have that meme about having fun staying poor, but I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing, even though he hasn't made much money for his clients.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right, but I worry for his health sometimes. I mean, unless he does have a healthy Bitcoin position, he's not advertising. Because I mean, it would stress me out. Being net short Bitcoin by not having any. I can't even imagine how stressful I would be. Especially today, like in the climate of today, I can't imagine not having Bitcoin and knowing about Bitcoin. Like people tweet about it endlessly, but I can't imagine like this world but without Bitcoin. Sounds extremely depressing.
Okay, so your name still appears when you're talking. I don't know what I should do right here.
It's weird.
Mm,
I have my video turned off and my settings.
so replace pin. I've added a pin to my part of the live stream. How about I remove all pins And now what do? I spotlight. I think that's what I'm trying to do.
It must have been something to do with when I joined again, because I had my setting to turn off my video when joining a meeting, but
Mhm.
when I joined, I would think it would not be on. But
Yeah, so I can pin it, but it's only going to appear like this in my case. So I guess I should start another live stream and make it just audio, and then I put the video on top of it.
oh, can you do that in the future?
Yes.
We should definitely do it that way. Yeah, I'm not sure why it didn't happen the first time. All my settings are the same.
Because I did it right the first time.
Oh, I see.
It was now that I made the mistake. So
All
yeah,
right. Well,
let me
do
start
you
it
want
now.
to maybe call it for today and then do that the next time we do a stream? I think I want to try and get a little work done today
Oh, okay. I
on
actually
music.
thought that we would do this for a longer time, and I've just posted about it like 12 seconds ago on Twitter. Okay,
Oh, well, let's go. Let's do one more.
one
I'm
more.
down. Yeah. Like I said, it's not. This is my day off, but I just wanted to do a little music. But let's keep it going a little longer.
Okay, one more. There's someone who's playing Smash Bros. Ultimate. I actually like Nintendo games. They are so much fun, and in ways that other companies' games are not. Like I can't think of anything that we could be playing right now and having as much fun and feeling so casual about it.
Yeah, it's super casual. You know.
So you can join me right now. I've established a new
Okay.
server. Look, for example, we have 2 people watching right now. And wait, to mitigate this, I can put it in gallery view. It's not the most convenient, but at the same time, it will no longer switch from my view to your view. So we're going to have both of them at the same time. The second one only has your name on it.
Sounds good. The
Okay.
next time we do the stream, we'll just have it with the video and no.
So how about 150cc with teams and we get to be on the same team?
Sounds good to me.
Normal items. Should I make the CPU harder?
Oh yeah, make them. I mean, they're a little too easy to be honest.
Yeah, so hard. All vehicles for races. Is this the last one?
Yeah. Select my player. So I think you have to choose the teams.
I have no idea what I did there. I think I set it randomly and we're in different teams.
Well, good. I didn't want to be on the same team anyway.
Wants to be in the same team with me. Feels like high school.
I've been trying to get this. I guess we did. Did we start playing it last time? I wanted to play the same map, and I never get selected.
Let's see.
That's my girlfriend's favorite track. The one that we just got.
The Excite Bike one.
Yeah.
Is she even old enough to have played Excite Bike?
She's younger than me. She's 25.
Like I remember playing it, but for different reasons because we had these Nintendo clones here in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I've actually played NES games in the early 2000s instead of being on the N64 and GameCube or PlayStation 2 or whatever was popular at the time.
You know, when you were talking earlier about how different your experience was getting into Bitcoin, just in regards to your country and the climate where you were growing up, um, being so different from my experience, it reminded me, what's the situation with like taxes where you are? And I know we've gotten in the States this huge, uh, like basically every time we do taxes, there's a section that says very vaguely and with way too many words in an extremely convoluted way. Like, have you acquired any interest in a cryptocurrency or virtual currency over the past year? And it's not really clear like what they're asking or what it covers, but you have to answer. And I was just wondering if there's anything like that when you're doing your taxes.
What the government does, and there is actually a law that has been passed in this regard, is that they check with popular exchanges to see if you have an account. And there's a gap of about 5 years during which you can get an audit if you reported your taxes the wrong way. So if there's anything that you did wrong there, there's a 5 year time span during which you can actually get held accountable for what you have reported. After 5 years have passed, you're all good. But for anything revolving virtual currencies and cryptocurrencies, there is like a 10% tax on it, and that's it. And
Like a
you
kind
just
of like a
report it.
capital gains tax,
Hmm?
kind of like a capital gains tax.
Exactly. So it's a tax on gains.
Yeah, it's interesting. I, f- I always get extremely offended at that question, which I've seen in my taxes, doing my taxes 2 years in a row now, because I feel like it's no one's business. You know, like what I've acquired. You know, like I mean, they're not asking you like, have you acquired real estate? Have you acquired gold? But they're asking me if I've basically purchased any cryptocurrency. It's like just so you can put me on some kind of blacklist.
Yeah, I guess this is how we know that it's threatening them.
True. On the other hand, you know, I really think as long as people are trying to do their taxes right, I feel like they'll be fine. I don't have any plans on selling anything anytime soon, but if I did sell anything, then that would be something to report when doing my taxes. But I don't understand why they're asking people that kind of information. Uh, at, you know, just to find out.
It works more like a survey, I guess.
Interesting.
They just want to know which percentage of the population is involved in this, just so they can adjust their policies possibly and realize to which extent it's urgent to pass new laws regarding taxation or be more strict about it. If it's just a niche phenomenon, I don't think they're going to bother to look into it more. But there's also the chance that they're trying to test your honesty, and at any point in the future, I'm not sure after which amount of time they can pardon any offense that they did not discover. Like we have this sort of legal framework in Europe where we say that an offense has been prescribed, meaning that they can no longer enforce it if they did not discover it in this amount of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure there's a similar framework here.
If you commit tax fraud and they only discover it after 5 years, then they cannot enforce it.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what the difference is here. I know it's only asking, at least for now, you know, for this previous tax year, which I think it only started doing in 2018. So There's some plausible deniability there.
I remember when the news broke about it, and I also remember in 2019 when it got ridiculous and they were also asking about all your possessions, even airdrops, and there were
That's
jokes about
insane.
yeah, so there were jokes about doing airdrops on IRS agents.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. It's just insane, like how anyone could be expected to keep track of these airdrops, especially if you're not paying attention to all the crap, like unrealized gains from airdrops left and right for projects you're not even aware of.
I guess you're on the winning team.
I didn't even do that well. I guess my team's just doing pretty well.
Yeah, but we're playing on hard.
True. Well, this time I'm winning. I'm coming in first.
So I'm going for the Electrodome because you've tried to get it.
Okay, we'll play it. I'll do that one too.
Something about which I've been thinking a lot lately is the fact that when Bitcoin gets more institutionalized and there are more companies buying it, they're actually doing what the government wanted to do in the first place. So if enough companies acquire enough amounts of coins and they cover pretty much all of the new entrants in the market, then there's going to be all the KYC that the government wanted to enforce, but performed by the private sector.
Interesting.
Essentially, when MicroStrategy buys any amount of Bitcoin, it's going to be in their balance sheets, and they have to report which ones, and possibly there's going to be some blockchain analysis to explain which Bitcoins were bought, when, for which amount, and all of that accounting. So essentially, everything that they buy is KYC'd and is going to remain KYC'd probably for the longest time because they cannot just sell to a friend or something. They have to do proper documents, it has to be legal, and there's going to be this framework for KYC Bitcoins that's going to take over. And that's a bad pun because the name of my podcast is Bitcoin Takeover, but it's kind of worrying when you think about it that the amount of coins that are not tainted and not registered to a company or a holder is narrowing down, and there's going to be fewer of them as time goes by. And as OGs sell their coins to companies and they're happy that they have reached whatever goal, like 20x, 100x, or something, Bitcoin is going to become less fungible. And that's something which worries me. Because you have a lot of plausible deniability with the coins, and this pseudonymous framework works very well until you have companies that control a great amount or a large amount of the supply, and they can track down every transaction and figure out who bought from them and which amount and where it got. The government
I think
doesn't
it might be.
have
It
to
might
make
be
you report your wallet. They
right.
can know.
Well, I'd be really interested to like what do you think that breaking point is? Like, there's a threshold there. Um, I think it'd be cool to in the future have maybe a topic that we're starting, like a starting point, and that would be a really good one to talk about. Maybe get some other people on the show, because there's definitely a tipping point, and I'm not sure if we would reach it. It really depends.
Yeah, I guess lots of coins have to be acquired by companies, and after that, I have no idea because the users who buy from them, maybe that MicroStrategy turns into an exchange in the future. Oh, so you won, I guess. And if they do and they start selling, they're going to need to do KYC if they want to operate in the United States. And if they do that, there's going to be like, let's say 100,000 coins that they own because they got in very late.
Right.
And there's going to be more owned by Twitter and owned by Tesla and owned by all of these actors. And it makes you wonder how many coins are actually in circulation and being traded every day without all the wash trading that goes on between exchanges and the fake volumes.
Makes you think. I wonder if Satoshi had in mind to have those million coins burnt essentially to combat that, or to help combat that. And then you have all the coins that are lost, right?
Yeah, but
then you have all the staunch holders who never plan to sell, or if they do, never plan to sell all of their holdings. I'd be really interested to know kind of where that will go, like playing out the game theory of what you're proposing, because that is something that is a little worrying.
I mean, we can get better privacy for Bitcoin, and I think the time for that to happen is kind of now. If we want to actually have privacy for Bitcoin, we have to do it while, I don't know, there's still a chance for it to happen. I suppose if MicroStrategy, which by the way, I've heard Michael Saylor say that he's not a fan of base layer privacy, MicroStrategy will try to maybe finance Bitcoin development if they haven't already, and have developers on their side to support their best interests. That's going to be very interesting in the future as it gets very political and you have developers who try to defend their employees. Like I've seen Blue Matt. What's his full name? It's Matt Corallo, yeah. So he publicly defended Jack's tweet about NFTs. Like he made fun of Bitcoiners who can't stand NFTs after his boss, essentially, Jack Dorsey, tweeted about selling his tweet. And it made me wonder, that that guy is essentially representing the best interests of his boss. Maybe not in all situations, maybe that he still has some cypherpunk ethos in him. But still, when the time was right for him to defend his boss, he did it. And it's going to get interesting to realize who funds these developers and what kind of interests their patrons or sponsors have.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and it's not even the developers who decide anything, but they can decide not to develop. And that's another interesting threat model to think about, that they can decide not to work on something. And we will never even get to vote whether or not we want more confidentiality on the base layer because there's no proper development for it.
Are you an advocate for privacy on the base layer, like something actually implemented, other than what people are doing right now, with Wasabi and Whirlpool?
Oh yeah, so I'm very much aware of that. I'm a big fan of Wasabi, but at the same time, I think we need a bit more, and I'm paying close attention to what they're doing with extension blocks, for example. You can call me a shitcoin or whatever, but I'm looking at Mimblewimble on Litecoin extension blocks, which essentially works like a side chain of sorts, and you can move your coins to that other chain and perform transactions with better privacy. And if they manage to pull it off, it's going to be just a matter of forking it and making it work for Bitcoin. So yeah, I think
because it's interesting because what you hear a lot about when people bring up privacy on the base layer is concerns with monitoring the supply, right?
they would be worried about inflation.
Yeah. So that is interesting.
I think there are lots of smart workarounds for privacy. And also there's pay to endpoint, which breaks any kind of chain analysis attempt because it doesn't pay to your address, which you generate with your node, which holds your xpub, and that can be tracked. It sends directly to your node, which is the endpoint. It makes a direct payment, which has no address, and Chainalysis only tracks addresses and the links between them. So if that scales at a greater level, then it's going to be a game changer. But so far, only a few businesses like Blockstream and Wasabi and like Bitcoin companies are playing with it. I hope we get it in the future, but I hope we also start this topic at the beginning of an episode. And it's kind of ironic because we've had like 0 viewers for most of the stream, but right now we have 2 of them. And we're about to end this.
Well, all great things start somewhere, and this is the very first episode of Bitcoin Mario Kart. Or I guess we might need to come up with a different name. Bitcoin Takeover Games. Is that what you were coming up with?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The name of the channel is Bitcoin Takeover, like, yeah, Bitcoin Takeover Games. My first idea was like Bitcoiners playing games talking about Bitcoin, but it's
I like it is long, but I do like names like that, or like really simple names like what's the show with Seinfeld, comedians in cars drinking
getting coffee.
coffee. That's like stuff like that. I love it. So, but yeah, Bitcoin Takeover Games, episode 1.
Yeah, this was it. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, Eric.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
I've also got some messages from Coin Laughs, who also wanted to join but said he has an insane day.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to be able to do this right now. A lot of things going on usually.
And there's Ben, Coin Spawner, on Twitter, who says he's watching. So hi, Ben. It's good to have you here. But we are close to the end of the episode, so we're not going to play any more Mario Kart or discuss any more Bitcoin because in my case it's close to midnight. In your case, it's very close to, I don't know what time it
It's
is.
about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Yeah, maybe I should play later, as in at 4 a.m. or something, so that you guys can enjoy your after work.
Well, so I have Mondays and Tuesdays off currently, and I work evenings on my work days. So in theory, I could do this before I work any day during the week because I work at night. So I usually go into work a few hours from now in a given day. Obviously, today I have the whole day off, but so we could do it like we did it today.
I could
Obviously,
also keep on playing if there was anyone else to join. I don't want to play by myself and talk by myself.
no, we gotta have a bunch of players in here. The more people talking and playing, the better.
Yeah, so the 3 of you listening right now and watching how we stand on top of the world, if you could get a Switch and join us, that would be very much fun. I could invite you to our Zoom call and I don't know, do something from there. Have fun. Have more fun than people on Clubhouse or what's the other platform that gets people involved. There was the VR meeting. We've had VR podcasts, but I did not enjoy them too much. They felt gimmicky. This is a lot more fun. You actually play video games. What's more fun than this?
Yeah, super casual. Just playing some Mario Kart, just playing some Smash while we talk Bitcoin.
Plus, this is no conference. This we don't have any kind of leaders or speakers, keynote speakers. I don't know. It's just Bitcoiners playing games.
I don't know. I'm excited to get some people on here.
Okay, we should promote this. And Eric, I don't know if you're still available tomorrow, but I'll try to talk to people and see if this catches on.
Yeah, maybe we can see what sticks. Maybe it'll be a kind of thing where we do it like once a week or just like whenever we feel like it.
I think the latter is more likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, once a day, every day, or nothing. Those are my conditions.
Okay. I can actually try that because it's really late at night for me, so I'll be at home no matter what.
And we'll have to look into getting like if you want, I might be able to just get the upgraded version of Zoom that allows us to do an unlimited live stream, so we don't have to cut in and out.
Yeah, that could be nice. Or else I get OBS to work, but I still need Zoom for that to get the audio from it.
I see. I wonder if you'd be able to do that though, because I'm pretty sure it's just cutting us off because of the live stream aspect through Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna head out. This is fun. Let's do it again.
Okay, bye-bye, and thank you for listening.